Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Julpy and Ghosty.
And Doobie. That's our YouTube thingamajiggy because we hit 100,000 subs.
But we're procrastinators, and so we waited
What
to
have you
click
done
the
with
button
your
for us to
life?
receive it. So it took a little while, and we're over 140,000 now. Woo!
Sucker MCs. Much love to all you beautiful people.
I still wish I knew who our first subscriber was.
Pretty sure
I was
it
like,
was
how did this person find
Sandoval
us?
guy.
Oh, really?
I can find it if I go into our email because it's still connected to our email.
We should do that.
So, Quarantine Chronicles, it's a mini-series about, it's 10 months into, I think it's a year past this date, and what has happened has turned into basically a zombie apocalypse with a little bit of a twist. So that's a mini-series coming. First episode is free. Everybody will be able to watch it. And then $5 ticket gets you all the other episodes for free, I think. They do.
He said a $5 ticket gets you them for free.
Yeah. All the other. Well, I'm not going to charge $5 an episode. Maybe like a 3-4 video miniseries. But,
the $5 gets you into all the episodes.
We're working very, very, very hard on it. It's I don't know. The people
Vin wrote it. He wrote a fun script.
Yeah,
I like it.
People that read the script were. Matter of fact, I'm going to send the script to Carmen right now because I want to hear. I want to hear like a non-family member's.
You really should send it to somebody who hates you.
Carmen hates me.
Carmen doesn't hate you.
Carmen hates me. Who should I send it to? I should send it to
Ben Webb.
I should send it to. I should send it to Athena.
Oh Lord! Oh Lord! Lordy Lord!
Lord. Okay, so there's that. Tell them about time and topical political commentary.
Yeah. So Vin has a channel. Well, it's sometimes I'm in there too. Middle America with Vin and Sori. If you look in the description of this video, you'll be able to find the link for that. And it's a political channel, but it's interesting because sometimes you would expect him to give a certain idea, but he actually gives something, another take on it. I get the best episodes because even sometimes he has unpublished stuff. But for
that's
now...
True. You're right. That is true.
I know. I'm like, that's the best there. Why don't you make a video on that? Anyway, but there's still some really great videos out there, and some of them I'm like, okay, I can throw in with you on that political idea. Anyway, check it out for yourself though. If you're interested in that, or you're stuck inside and you're like, I want to see something, that'd be a good spot to go to. If you're interested in doing a song review for us, we have a tier on Patreon for that. Like literally, we will. Well, it's basically like Skype you in, but it's something else. Or we also have, if you want to have a song reaction, you can reach out to us on Patreon and get that done as well. That's what, would you say Ayo for this?
Ayo.
Ayo! That's what Ayo decided to do, and so that is why we are doing Thrice Beggars. But if you're like the type of person that, first of all, that review might be too expensive for you, but you still are interested in getting your word in about what songs we should react to, the best place to start is on Patreon on the $1 tier. You can join an alliance, and that is how you guys influence us on what songs we're going to listen to next. So,
Beggars Thrice. I'm very interested in this band. Let's do it.
Okay, ready?
Go.
Have you ever listened to a Thrice song?
We did one.
I was like, I thought that we did a... Okay.
Right, Noah. Or Jonah. Sorry.
Noah. Ready? Go.
Yeah.
Oh, let's bring it over here. Ready? Go.
Oh, you great man of power, you boast of your feats, politicians and entrepreneurs. Can you safeguard your breath in the night while you sleep? Keep your heart beating steady and sure as you lie in your bed
It's true. It's
It's
true.
It's like we are beggars all.
Shoot, man.
Woo.
That was good.
That was some Job
Yeah.
/ Martin Luther
Yeah.
/ really, really good stuff. Really, really
Yeah,
good
it's
stuff.
fun. Okay, I loved start to finish. I loved everything about this song. When he started going, I always liked the way that conversation went in Job. You know,
Job 38.
well, yes, it's 37 also, I think. It's 37. Okay, is that where he talks about the lightning and the thunder? Does he talk about that in 37 or 38?
I think so. I'm not sure. But go ahead. Continue.
I just love that. I love the thought of questioning yourself and who you are, and like especially when it talks about like you doing it at night, like when you're on your bed, because that's when we can start thinking about stuff and stuff. So like a questioning of, you know, you can't even claim your own name. Like your own name was given to you before you were born.
Before you were born.
Yeah, and just wow. But then and I love the sound of it. I like that, like, kind of, I don't know what they would, like, this swingy sort of sound that
Yeah.
I enjoy, and kind of brings a reminiscent feel to it. But then there was one criticism and one thing that I disagreed with, which you'll probably bring a different take on it, but, so he talks about being a beggar throughout, we are all beggars. We are beggars all. And then at the end of the song, he says, can you see now that everything's grace after all? And I've been thinking a lot about grace lately, and how grace, like, we're given so much more. Like, if you think about what you deserve and what you get, and then you think about what grace does, and I think about grace in my life, then I think I'm actually not a beggar because I've been given grace. So I just, you know, I don't know, like it brings you to a different place and a different position. And so, so that was like my one part that I was like, I disagree with that. I think that grace makes us not a beggar, because it takes us from the place of being, some poor bastard to being a son, I guess.
Yeah,
Or a daughter.
I just think that if you apply the principle of whoever exalts himself will be humbled, whoever humbles himself will be exalted, then it makes sense. So this is to the powerful. This is to the powerful. So the job is to make the powerful humble. But then, so the effect.
It was only to the powerful? I kind of thought it was like in...
all you great men of power.
Oh, all you big
champions
shots,
of
all you
science.
champions.
All
Yeah,
you
yeah,
big
yeah, yeah.
shots with swagger.
Yep.
So
Yeah, okay, I see.
So grace functions when
kind of open
grace.
this up for everybody.
Yeah, when grace intersects with a prideful person, then the result is humility. And it's not because God is trying to crush you, it's because human conceit is a fantasy and a facade, which we're now in the midst of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that's really screwing with people psychologically, is that you have all of these, you know, you great men of science, blah, blah, blah. We had the best minds in the world, and none of them could save us from a micro... Yeah, I talked about this to Jonathan Edwards' sermon.
Yes.
It wasn't sinners in the hands of an angry
Yes.
God, but I was saying,
You
it
did.
was a week before Corona hit.
Yep. The spider bite or something like that.
Something like a spider can undo you.
Yep.
You know, Edwards was saying, and I was saying beyond that, a microbe, a virus could undo us. And then, sure enough, you know, it's the silliness of the modern mind.
Yeah.
To think that you're in control of things that you're...
Right.
So many things. But on the other hand, when grace intersects with a humble person, it exalts them to a prince.
Right.
And in reality, both of them end up in the same place.
Right.
It's just that the
interesting.
So God's job is to you know, take away the facade from you know, people who are delusional
And introduce the reality.
and bring them to reality,
Yeah.
and then to lift up those who've been trodden down by the delusional people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, this is one of those times where, and it's very ironic, like the song selections in the last.
I know.
Because these are Patreon picks, so
Yeah.
we had no influence over it. You know what I mean? We had no influence, but they're just so
and
many.
honestly, these
so many
songs were
themes here.
picked.
What, January?
No, not in January, but these songs were picked before the coronavirus thing got big.
Yeah, yeah. So it's you know, somebody's trying to tell us something. We should listen. But this has implications, you know, theologically. It also has implications sociologically. I like the beggar concept in the sense of when you talk about healthcare for all or something like that, and then you get confronted with this. I worked, I did this, I did that, I earned this, blah, blah, blah. Basically, screw the little guy. It's like, you're a beggar. Mm-hmm. I remember one time I was talking to one of my good friends, and he's a driven dude, Ranger bat guy, like very, very driven dude. And, you know, he's following Jesus now, alhamdulillah. But I remember, you know, he was kind of like hardcore atheist, whatever. And he used to come to my office, and we used to have these battles for hours or whatever. I was talking about how we're all completely reliant on God's grace, and he's like, "What are you talking about? I did all this and all this without God." Da 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 da. And he worked hard. Obviously, you don't sleep through Ranger School. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "How come you weren't born with muscular dystrophy?"
Right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
How come you weren't born with spina bifida? How come you weren't born in India? Mm-hmm. In one of the lower classes where you literally live in your own sewage and you literally don't know anything else. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not negating the fact that you worked for it, but even the desire to work for something and the power to do so and the intellectual acumen to match desire with reality.
Right.
All of those things are things that you didn't come up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You weren't even...
Grace upon grace.
You can't even control where you were born. Like, the most essential thing about you, your existence, when you came into existence, the most essential thing about you, you had no control over. And it's the thing that started everything else. So you were completely and totally dependent on others and on God's grace and mercy, like from the beginning. Like, you know, Orion, you know, he got a crazy messy diaper, and because we didn't get to it in time, he got a diaper rash. And then we had to stock up and hit the road and, you know, make a Walking Dead supply run so that we could go and help him. Like, he's completely and totally dependent on us. And just imagine the folly if he was able to talk. Like, he was that, like, baby.
He was so bad.
If he was that baby from...
it happened during the night. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Well, he was that baby from, what do you call it? Family Guy. There's this baby and he could talk. He's a genius or whatever. Like, imagine the folly and the stupidity of Orion, who is completely dependent on us for everything. Can't even change his own diaper. Strutting around saying, "Hey, you other 1-year-olds, you guys aren't as hardworking as me, and you look so silly." Like, in that, I think that is how we look when we act as if, you know, we're above everybody and that we're in control of our own world. I think that's one of the things that's really starting to screw with people psychologically, is like this myth of control. Like, people really believe, and I could tell because I talk to people and I'd say, "How do you know this isn't going to happen tomorrow?" And they'd be like, "Eh." And they really thought that they really believed that. And so sometimes things happen where it's like, you don't control anything. Mm-hmm. You can't see this thing.
We have this conversation all the time.
You can't see this thing.
I was going to control everything.
Yeah. And it's not, and you know, you got the social distancing and that's why I said about the toilet paper. Like, people don't, like, to me, there is a deep psychological truth being being explicated in the toilet paper jihad, and it was very simple. It was like, this is something I can control. I can control this. This is something tangible that I can see, because this enemy is intangible, invisible, I can't see, and I don't even know if it's got me. And we've heard horror stories about people complaining about it, and then 4 days later, ended up dead. And so now I've got something tactile, I've got something I put my hands on, I can control that. And when I see somebody walking off with the last thing of toilet paper, it is walking off with my illusion of control, and I'm gonna fight for that.
Yep.
That's what people were fighting over.
Yeah.
A lot of people were missing it. They're like, it's a respiratory thing. It's like, no, bro. Like, this was a tactile, tangible, the last vestiges of our illusion that we control things. And here you are running off with it. And if I let you leave that store without a confrontation, then I am conceding the fact that I can't even control the visible world, much less the invisible world. And I think that really... I think there's a lot of utility in some high theology. Like there's, because honestly, like, our philosophy is trust Allah and tie your camel. So it's like, hey, we're going to wash our hands, we're going to do social distancing, yada, 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 all that. But, and to some degree it's easy for us to say because we've got a homebound lifestyle. So, work hasn't stopped. You're still working. You're still, still doing school.
We've already homeschooling our kids.
We've already been homeschooled. So like our life hasn't changed at all. But I also think that you if you believe there's a God in heaven and that there's a plan that's being worked out and that that you're part of it and that you have a role to play and that this specific moment of my death is in the book and I can't do anything to change it any more than the specific day of my birth was in the book and I couldn't do anything to change that. And I understand that there's a whole bunch of, questions and implications that brings about. But, it's what's amazing to me is that this principle you would figure like as a Christian, like, yeah, atheist. But the people that in my mind need to hear this the most are like the right wing. We don't want to help anybody. This is our money. We pulled ourselves up by our bootstrings. Evangelical Christians, we came out of. What are they doing in our country? They should have saved their money. This is my money. Me. And there's no like acknowledgement. Even like if an atheist says, I'm in control of my own world and my money is my money or whatever, they're being consistent with their worldview. What's interesting to me is that my atheist friends are more likely to say, yeah, we need Medicare for all. Yeah, we need to do something about the immigration crisis. Yada, yada. That does not include, And I understand who built the cages first. You're looking at the wrong guy. My point is, like, it's a very strange phenomena where your atheist agnostic friends are more willing to not trot out the personal responsibility, blah 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 blah. And again, I'm not against personal responsibility. I am against marshaling personal responsibility to be unempathetic to the suffering of other people who don't happen to be in your position. I'm still debating with myself about whether or not it's a character flaw, but if you don't have empathy for people because they're not in some economic whatever, and you put money over human life, like I struggle a lot with it. And so like you're more likely to see right-wing Christian evangelical people not learning the lesson of this song, recognizing that you just happen to be a beggar in which somebody has come across and given you, X amount of money, 100K, whatever it is. You're still a beggar because you don't even, a couple of weeks ago before this whole thing hit. Now, actually, it's pretty interesting because right before CV went public, my friend, my barber, remember I said his cousin died in his sleep? Remember that? It's probably CV now I think about it because he just randomly died in his sleep, and then like weeks later, it exploded with the whole CV situation. So. But like you can't even control that. Can you safeguard your breath in the night while you sleep? Keep your heart beating steady and sure.
Yeah. And I think too that the judgment on other people, like for instance, I'm in this Facebook group that is the community helping the community to be able to get past the CV stuff that's going on. And so it's, how can you help each other? People can put out their needs or, you know, whatever, and other people can kind of jump in. And they had to make a post that said, listen, like, please stop criticizing people on this forum. Like, there are people that were in a financially tough situation before this started. You know, some people are living check to check. Yes, we all know that it's better to have a savings account, but some people have not been able to enact that in their lives and make that happen. And right now is not the time to lecture them on,
50,
you know,
it was like 50% of the American populace doesn't have $500 of an emergency
Right.
fund. It was
Right.
I'm lowballing it.
Right. And sometimes it's like, yes, sometimes people are making very bad decisions. Yes. But there are other times where people are trying to make the best decisions they can. For instance, you know, I had this friend that was, she had enough kids where she was getting financial aid from the state, and she was trying to get a job so that way she could better herself and her family.
Yeah.
And she was stuck in this weird limbo point where she was making just enough at her job where they were going to take away the benefits that they had given her, making it so that way she then had not enough to be able to make it so her family could survive. The line was too hard and it was too... 100%. So she could not make it to a savings account.
100%.
She was literally living check to check, and that's all that she could do.
100%.
Now, at the time, I was telling her stuff like, well, you know, don't get such... You know, get the harder, rougher toilet paper, make it happen and stuff like that. But if you have to go to that extreme with people... Like, things are too tight. Like, there wasn't anything in her budget. Now that I'm an older adult and I look back, there was nothing crazy in her budget.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like she was going out on the town and doing all... It wasn't like they...
Well, and this Corona thing has made this literally true. When this was written, it's like partial. It's like it's like thematically true or theologically true or philosophically true.
Right.
This literally happens with the politicians and the entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. This happened with the bailouts. These cruise line industries who you know they locate all their business in the Bahamas so that they can circumvent American tax dollars, and they're still asking us for bailouts. So they're robbing us blind. They've been robbing us blind for decades. But then when their industry gets in trouble, they're literally coming to beggars and begging them for money. And our U.S. government, thank you very much, just said, sure, we'll do that. We'll put trillions of dollars back. So like this same thing happened in 2008 with Wall Street bailouts and the auto industry bailouts. Like these guys were reduced to being beggars, even though they were billionaires, because this was going to stop their flow of billions.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't bail out the auto industry, all those billionaires would have been straight. You see what I'm saying? So it's like this crazy thing in America. It's kind of almost like specifically American, where it's like if we want to help the less fortunate, I don't even know what terminology we should use because it's such bullshit terminology. But if we want to help people in a lower economic strata, all of a sudden people start
stuck
thinking
at minimum wage or thereabouts.
Yeah, they start thinking that they're I'm doing something nice, and like shut up, dude. Like, is anybody running around patting themselves on the back for bailing out these billionaires? No. There was a need, you met the need, okay.
And the other thing, too,
like,
is
you're
that
no
a lot
hero
of the
because
people...
you gave to somebody.
A lot of the people that need help are people that have more than one or two children.
100%.
And so
100%.
the children that we are raising, that 100%. Is our future. That 100%. Is the future of our nation.
Yeah.
And so it's like...
And we're supposedly pro-life. But the pro-choice atheists...
Why is that mom having to struggle so much? Because she has all her kids.
And they're quick. The pro-choice atheist is quicker to help that kid.
Yep.
With no judgments.
Yep.
We've been swimming in these people for and we've criticized the hell out of atheist people. Obviously, we're Christians, but they're so willing to give without any judgments, without any strings. Like I've been in Bible studies where it's like, okay, like we have to give to poor people, and it was all these like, I gotta say, it just upper middle class, suburbanites, and going, I just struggle so hard because I know they're gonna misuse it and they're not like us, and the guy's like, yeah, I know, but we gotta do it for Jesus' sake. Don't do it for them, do it for Jesus. It's like, what are you talking about? Like you spend all your money wisely? Like, well, yeah. Like, what are you talking about? But now these billionaires need to be bailed out. Oh, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And obviously, it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, let's just And look, I get it, somebody's asking you for money and they're gonna spend it on heroin. Like, that's a completely different story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's mind-boggling.
And for me, it's not even the fact that your money is getting wasted. It's the fact that person's life is being
person
destroyed.
is getting wasted. That's the problem. Right. Yeah, and I just, at the same time, though, if all of us are beggars, that means that the eyes that I've been given to see, right?
Yeah.
And the mind to know that you're not a hero for giving somebody help. Is also God's grace and did not originate in me. So I've just spent 30 minutes being a giant complete hypocrite, because if it wasn't for God's grace, then I would be a judgmental asshole, just like the judgmental assholes. I'm assholely judgmentalizing. I mean, so it's one of these days we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Inshallah. But good Lord, this is a very, very challenging song. Can you summon the sun from its sleep? This is the next one that you have to read. Sori does this little series where she reads Bible chapters, and it's absolutely beautiful. You need to do Job 38 because it would be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. We have so many projects, like side projects, that are really awesome. What do you give the song?
Oh, it's a 10 for me. It's just the meaning behind it, the sound of it. I love the whole thing, really, start to finish.
Lyrically strong, 9.7 for me. Thank you very much, AO, whoever AO is.
AO!
And shout out to all the patrons, by the way.
Yeah.
You guys are. I've been saying in the last couple of videos, think twice about being a patron. And if you are a patron, think twice about scaling back and take care of your family first. But anyway, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
Oh, you great man of power, you boast of your feats, politicians and entrepreneurs. Can you safeguard your breath in the night while you sleep? Keep your heart beating steady and sure as you lie in your bed. Does the thought haunt your head that you're really rather small? That there's one